Sarah sits by a softly glowing lamp near a Seabrook entryway door, the camera capturing the dim light against the late-night silence, the distant crash of waves, a faint hum. She's in a cozy sweater and jeans, her hazel eyes alight with calm certainty, a quiet smile on her lips. You guys will never believe what happened. I'm Sarah, living in the coastal town of Seabrook, weaving stories from the sea's whispers in my attic room, dreaming of novels that capture the heart's hidden tides. Today's my 18th birthday, and Harlan, our family friend, a widowed architect with salt and pepper hair, warm gray eyes, and a voice like a blueprint coming to life, said he'd be back late from his trip. He didn't know I'd remember. Hours passed, the house silent, but I waited by the door with one lamp glowing. When he walked in, well, keep watching, because this story's all about a welcome home that changes everything. Like and subscribe for more. The late night in Seabrook was hushed, the air cool and thick with the rhythmic crash of waves and the faint scent of salt drifting through the quiet streets. Sarah's 18th birthday had been a quiet affair: dinner with family, a solitary walk along the shore where she scribbled story fragments in her notebook, and hours in her attic, her latest draft about a homecoming pulsing with her own anticipation. Harlan, a widowed architect and old family friend who'd mentored her writing dreams, had been away on a work trip for weeks, his last text a casual "back late tonight, don't wait up." But Sarah remembered, her just-turned 18 boldness turning his words into a promise she couldn't ignore. The house Harlan's where she'd been house-sitting fell silent as the hours ticked by, the neighborhood lights dimming one by one, but she sat by the entryway door, a single soft lamp glowing, her heart whispering poetic fragments. A girl, 18, waits in the glow, chasing a homecoming that hums in the quiet. At 65, Harlan was a widowed architect whose steady presence had guided Sarah since childhood. His salt and pepper hair was neatly trimmed, his warm gray eyes carried the depth of decades designing homes, and his hands calloused from years of sketching blueprints moved with a precision that felt like a structure taking shape. His "Take care, Sarah," before trips, paired with a warm smile, had always felt protective but distant, like a blueprint on a shelf. She'd told herself it was just gratitude for the man who'd critiqued her stories, who'd shared tales of building lighthouses. But tonight, as the clock struck midnight and his key turned in the lock, her dangerous desires urged her to rewrite their story, as resonant as the Nurse Sarah's song that once wove a community together. Entryway, 12 o'clock a.m. The entryway was dim, the soft lamp casting a golden pool near the door, the sea's crash a distant pulse through the walls. Sarah sat on a bench, her cozy sweater loose, her jeans tucked under her, barefoot from pacing the house. The door opened, Harlan stepping in, tired, loosening his tie, his suitcase thumping softly. He froze, his gray eyes widening in surprise, taking in her calm figure in the glow. She smiled, calm and certain, her voice quiet but charged. "Welcome home," she said, her hazel eyes locking on his, the words a spark in the silence. "Here's where the story begins, audience," she thought, her inner monologue weaving poetic lines, a girl in the glow, a door swinging wide, a welcome that speaks louder than words. Harlan's breath caught, his eyes flickering over her poised stance, the lamp's light catching her tousled hair, then back to her face, his silence heavy with unspoken surprise. "Sarah," he said finally, his voice low, strained but warm, like an architect seeing a design shift. "You waited up? It's your birthday." He set his suitcase down, stepping closer, the air thick with the scent of travel leather, coffee and his cologne cedar, grounding and familiar. Living room, 12:15 a.m. They moved to the living room, a spacious room with oak beams, walls lined with architectural sketches, and a fireplace stacked but unlit. The lamp's glow followed, casting shadows across a plush couch by a window overlooking the dark sea. Harlan loosened his tie further, sinking into the couch, Sarah beside him, the silence comfortable but charged. The pages blank, audience, she thought, addressing her imaginary readers, but the ink's ready, waiting for the lines we haven't drawn. Their conversation started softly: his trip, her birthday, the house sitting, but the lamp's glow, the sea's rhythm, loosened their guards. Sarah's mind flickered to memories, vivid and fluid, like lines of a draft. Harlan years ago, critiquing her first story at a family dinner, his eyes warm as he said, "You'll build worlds, Sarah." Another fragment: a summer evening, him showing her lighthouse blueprints, his laugh steady as she teased him about his precision. Then, a quieter hue, last month, before his trip, him reading her homecoming draft over coffee, his hand brushing hers, his voice soft. You've got an architect's soul for stories, Sarah. A more recent note, his text from the road, don't wait up, but his eyes and her memory lingering. Each memory was a beam, layering their connection, pulling her toward a truth she'd been designing. You said you'd be late, she said, her voice playful but pointed, her hazel eyes searching his, the lamp's light catching their gray depths. But I remembered. Why does it feel like you didn't expect this? The story needs a spark, she thought, her inner monologue poetic, a beam that holds, a truth that builds. Harlan leaned back, his hand resting on the couch, close enough to feel its warmth, his voice low, like a blueprint unfolding. I didn't, he said, his smile tired but warm. You're full of surprises, Sarah. Waiting here, on your 18th, it's more than I planned for. His words carried a new weight, a crack in his steady facade, making her pulse quicken. Kitchen, 12:45 Anthe drifted to the kitchen for water. The room, small and modern, lit by the lamp Harlan carried, the scent of coffee grounds and sea salt mingling with the night's cool air through a cracked window. Sarah leaned against the counter, Harlan filling glasses, his movements weary but precise. The air was cozy but charged, their earlier words lingering like an unfinished design. You didn't have to wait, he said, handing her a glass, his fingers grazing hers, the contact warm and fleeting, like a line on a blueprint. House sitting's one thing, but this, Sarah, it's late. His voice was gentle, but curiosity edged it, like an architect sensing a new structure. She sipped the water, its coolness grounding her, her voice playful but honest. Maybe I wanted to, she said, her hazel eyes locking on his. I'm 18 now, Harlan. I get to choose what I wait for. Here's where the story shifts, audience, she thought, her inner monologue sharp, where the beams align, and the heart designs what the mind hesitates. Another memory surfaced. Harlan last spring, sharing a story of a cliffside home he built, his voice warm as she sketched nearby, his eyes bright. Your stories have foundation, Sarah. The memory bled into the present, her heart pounding with possibility. Living room, 1:30 a.m. Back in the living room, Harlan lit the fireplace, its flames casting a warm glow across the sketches, the sea's crash a faint rhythm. They sat closer on the couch, Sarah's hands fidgeting with her sweater, the air thick with unspoken truth. Harlan opened up about his trip, his voice fervent as he described a challenging build, but his eyes kept drifting to her. Designs about seeing what's there, he said, his fingers brushing the couch's edge. But you make me see more. His hazel eyes searched hers, her dangerous desires, urging her to push past the blueprint. Hey guys, Sarah said, her voice bright but laced with mischief, breaking the moment as if speaking to her imaginary audience, her eyes glinting as she leaned back. We're about to get into the spicy portion of the story, so please don't forget to like and subscribe. She grinned, the words a playful shield, but her heart pounded as she turned to Harlan, her knee brushing his, the contact electric. Welcome home, she said quietly, her voice charged with truth, her hazel eyes unwavering. I just turned 18, Harlan. I waited because, why does it feel like this isn't just about house sitting anymore? The silence was electric, the fire's crackle a soft pulse, the living room shrinking to just them, the couch, the firelight, the sea's distant hum. Her heartbeat quickened, her dangerous desires urging her to chase the truth in his freeze, like a story finding its foundation. Harlan's gaze softened, his voice low, strained but warm, like a design revealing its heart. It's not Sarah, he said, his eyes flickering to their close hands, then back to hers, a spark of something raw breaking through. You're 18 today, waiting here with that lamp, and I'm trying to keep this proper. But you're making that impossible. His words echoed the quiet power of a song binding a community, resonating with her heart. Her smile widened, her heart soaring, the tension pulsing like the firelight's glow. Maybe I like impossible, she said, her voice teasing but honest, leaning closer, her hand brushing his, the contact electric, like ink on a fresh page. The story builds itself now, she thought, her inner monologue poetic, a beam that holds, a truth that rises. I'm 18, Harlan. I get to choose what feels right. And this feels right. Her eyes locked on his, the fire swelling like a cue, her plan unfolding in the charged silence. He laughed, a low, warm sound, his hand lingering near hers, the touch sparking a fire in her chest that felt like a story taking shape. Your trouble, Sarah? He said, his voice rich with amusement and intensity, his gray eyes twinkling with a warmth she hadn't seen before, like an architect seeing a vision complete. I've been trying to keep my distance, to keep things structured. But you wait here on your 18th birthday, smiling like that, and I'm supposed to stay steady? You're redesigning everything I've got. Kitchen? 2 o'clock. Amthi returned to the kitchen, seeking a moment to breathe, the lamp casting a warm glow over the counter, the scent of water and cedar lingering. Sarah sat on the counter, Harlan leaning against the sink, his eyes tracing her with a mix of weariness and restraint. The air was still charged, their earlier words hanging like a finished frame. You always were determined, he said, his voice soft, a smile tugging at his lips as he set his glass down. Even as a kid, your stories had structure. But this is different, Sarah. His words were careful, like an architect choosing the right line, but his eyes betrayed a deeper design. She tilted her head, her sweater, catching the lamp's light, her voice playful but weighted. Difference not bad, she said, her hazel eyes holding his. I'm 18 now, Harlan. I'm not that kid anymore. Maybe I want different. Here's where the story rises, she thought, her inner voice weaving, where the lines connect, and the heart builds what the mind fears. Another memory flickered, Harlan last year, helping her outline a story, his hand steady on hers, his voice warm. Your words have bones, Sarah. The memory blended with the present, her heart pounding with the possibility of a new foundation. Entryway. 2:30. Amthi drifted back to the entryway, the lamp still glowing softly, the seas hum a quiet undercurrent. Sarah leaned against the bench, Harlan beside her, their shoulders close, the silence heavy with possibility. Here's the final beam, audience, she thought, her inner monologue poetic, where the design holds and the heart decides the shape. A memory surfaced, Harlan before his trip, pausing at the door, his eyes catching hers as he said, You make this house feel like home, Sarah. The memory merged with the moment, her heart alive with possibility. I don't want to just be the house sitter, she said, her voice steady, her eyes locked on his, her hand grazing his arm, the contact grounding her like a finished structure. What do you want, Harlan? Now that you're home, on my 18th birthday at this hour. He leaned closer, his smile slow, his eyes tracing her face like reading a blueprint. I want to see where this design goes, he said, his voice soft but weighted, like a home-taking shape. You're bold, Sarah, bolder than I was ready for. You're building something in my night, and I don't think I want to tear it down. The lamp flickered, the seas hum a quiet witness as resonant as a song spreading through a community. The air was thick with possibility, Sarah's dangerous desires sparking brighter than the lamp. You're making it hard to keep this expected, she teased, her voice a mix of playfulness and truth, her courage steady like a pen in her hand. He chuckled, his fingers brushing hers on the bench, the touch warm and electric. Expected's overrated, he said, his voice low, rich, carrying the weight of their moment. What do you want, Sarah? Now that I'm home, at this hour. Her heart pounded, the spark of his touch as vivid as her stories. I want this, she said, her eyes locked on his, her hand pressing against his. This moment, you. The sea hummed, its rhythm a soft applause, as her dangerous desires welcomed him home, leaving a daring new chapter, one fearless line at a time. Sarah leans against the entryway bench, the camera capturing the lamp's glow and the sea's distant shimmer through the door. She smiles, her eyes bright with mischief and warmth. And that's how a late homecoming turned into a story we couldn't close. Seabrook's got a way of making moments like this feel like a novel, doesn't it? If you loved this story, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Just turned 18. What's next for me and Harlan? Stick around to find out. See you in the next one.